Hey, Dad, welcome back. Uh, Today, we're going to be talking about the render network. But before we start, I realize that some people watching might not know who me or you are. This is my dad, and I have I'm a filmmaker. I don't really have a whole lot of background in cryptocurrency, so I'm just learning about it myself. But I'm more optimistic, whereas my dad is a little bit more skeptical. But if you want to, Dad, talk about your background a little bit. Go ahead.
My background is in philosophy, psychology. I like to read and study things and be on top of finances. I have an MBA in small business management and entrepreneurship, and I'm very skeptical of anything to do with cryptocurrency. And I enjoy discussing these issues with my son, who has the opposite viewpoint. I try to be
And
rational and reasonable.
yeah, I do too. But me and my dad have our conversations every day. We typically just argue about crypto, and so we figured, well, why not just do this on camera, see what other people think. Um, so yeah, the render network. So I just put out a video um, earlier this week about the render network, explaining what it is, what it does, and the price is pumping right now. I think it has to do in part with their recent, I guess, collaboration with Apple. I think Apple is promoted them in their recent. I haven't seen the recent Apple event, but I think maybe they promoted the Octane X thing, and that was probably why the price is kind of pumping. But
How
so
about
what do you have to say about the render network?
Well,
What did
it's
you think?
not pumping because of Apple. It's pumping for all the normal reasons that a cryptocurrency gets pumped.
Which are?
YouTube, Reddit, Twitter. People are telling people
But there aren't a lot
if
of.
you invest. But I mean, look, hey, if I were watching YouTube and I trusted people, I see a YouTube video that says 10x, make your investment, and then I see another one 20, then I see 100x. 1,000. And then I see another YouTube video saying it's going to be 9,000 times. Put in, it's going to, headlines, render is going to make you a millionaire. That's, in my
Now
mind,
these
when I see all
videos.
that, that is pumping, that's what pumps, because it still comes down to what is the render token worth? Okay.
Well,
The
let
question
me
is,
answer your
where does
first.
the value come
Well, let me respond to your first part of this before you get into that. So
from?
the there isn't. I don't think there's a ton of videos out there about the render network. I was looking. I didn't see a ton, and there's a few of these like little channels, and they do that 10x 20x thing that they all do. Which, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so I have to put that out there as they all do. So don't listen to me about whether or not you should invest in any of these. I just happen to think it's an interesting project, which we'll get into a little later. But I don't think it's necessarily the
It's all over.
YouTubers on this one.
Google, type in render in
Hmm.
YouTube. Type it in because I typed it in just a little while ago, just before we
Okay.
went on.
If you
There were
type in
like 30.
any of these,
There's,
30,
well, render.
this
I
third.
mean, render token. It was like, yeah, but you're saying it's everywhere. There were like dozens of them. That's where I saw all the
Yeah, but
different 10x,
there's
100x,
none
20x.
of none of the big. How many views are on those? How many
I
views?
wasn't looking at the views, but they've
Well,
been there
then
for
let's look it
like
up.
this stuff
Yeah,
for
there
like going back a year. Well,
sure.
let me ask
So
you a
how,
question.
but
You said
right
it's
now,
being
you
pumped.
said it just pumped right now. So it's being pumped.
Let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this, right? Do you own Render?
I do.
When was the first time you bought it?
About
A year
eight, 9 months
ago?
ago, maybe a year
What did
ago.
you pay? And what did you pay for it?
More than I did more recently. I
Well, oh
paid
yeah, what did you
higher
pay?
when
What
everything
did you
was
pay?
probably around
You know what it
250 or
was? You
something.
know what? How much?
250, something like that.
You
Two
know what it
dollars and
was
fifty
last
cents.
January? You know what Reddit was last January?
It got all the way up to like $7 or something.
Yeah. Well, in January it was
Okay.
topped out at $5.44.
Yeah.
So
But then
if you bought Reddit last
I
year,
also bought it at 40 cents. I bought more of it at
yeah.
40 cents.
Well, are you happy that you bought it at 40 cents?
Yes.
So
But it's
so
not about, again, I'm not
so you
buying it.
lost. Well, you're hoping that it's going to become more valuable
Yeah,
to
but
get
what
your
I'm
money
saying is
back.
I'm not buying for short term. I believe in the project long term because unlike projects like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, which is what I mentioned in the previous video, those don't really have any use cases, whereas this has utility and in a way that I can understand completely because of I work in post production, I work in production, I can understand how it can be useful.
You understand it? All right. So all right,
Well, let me ask
I
you.
understand that it's
Yeah, I was
wait,
going
I
to ask
agree
you.
with you. Wait,
Yeah,
we
okay.
agree on that. All right. So we agree that
Why
it's
don't you
useful.
explain to people who might be watching this video, explain what the render network is, so that way we can
Well, I'm
get a
not in.
baseline.
The thing
No,
is,
but explain.
we don't need to go. Yeah, but we don't.
We
We're not
do
going to be
need
here
to.
for
We have to
hours.
explain.
So, and
No, we'll
wait,
explain
I'm
what it
not an
is.
expert. But I don't need to explain to it to have our debate on the value of it
We
because
Well, because that's
all
not the
bit.
problem. We're not talking about value. See, you keep getting hung up on uh, prices
Well,
of things and whatever. I'm interested in technology and it being useful. I believe that this whole crypto and blockchain technology is useful in other ways than just making money on it. Yes, you can make money on it, but
well,
also
here's
I
my
see it
problem.
more as
Here,
getting into something at a cheaper price that is going to be useful.
at a cheaper price, and hoping that
It's
it
like buying.
becomes
It's like
you're hoping it's an investment, right?
to me, it's like seeing it's like seeing somebody had invented the automobile, and there's a few people driving around automobiles, and everyone else is on the horse and buggy going, "Oh, this is just a fad. No one's going to be using those." And you're like, "No, those are what everyone's going to use, including me." And right now, the gas is dirt cheap, so I'm going to go out and buy all the gas I can buy right now because not only am I going to
Well,
use the gas,
yeah,
but I
but
can then sell it to other
there's
people.
nothing to debate. There's nothing for us to debate regarding the utility of some of these apps and stuff, right? And I don't have a problem with that. All right, so I can agree with you that yet render has use, and you can make another video on that, and people will be bored and they'll say, "Oh yeah, okay, it works fine." All right, but the interesting thing, and where the debate is, and where the energy is where does it connect the usefulness of render and the value of the render token, all right? Because I don't see how that value connects to the value of. So, for example, let me tell you a story, right? So, say I start a business, it's not render. Say I have a kitchen cabinet company, okay?
Like you did.
In my company, and I
My
did, all
dad
right?
had a kitchen
So, my
cabinet company.
company, all right, okay. So, I design kitchens, okay?
Yep.
And I hire people to design the kitchens for me, okay? Follow me
Yep.
so far? Okay.
Yep.
So I decide that instead of paying them in US dollars, I'm going to give them my own dollars. I'm going to call them Frank Ferendo dollars. And if you design a kitchen for me, I'm going to give you a FF dollar. Okay. And they come to work for me and I give them a dollar. Oh, okay. So, all right. And then they design. Now you have a Frank Ferendo dollar. You can buy something with it. Well, I can't really buy anything because it's not really
No.
currency, but
Okay.
I
This
have.
is
Well,
where you.
let me
I
finish
got.
my
I got
story.
it.
All right. Well, let me finish this. All right. So now all people have come. A lot of people come to work for me. Like they're excited. I'm giving them Frank dollars. All right, and they can't really buy anything because it's not a currency, but they can trade with each other. Maybe they can take a Frank dollar and say, "Hey, this Frank dollars is worth almost as much as a Bitcoin, so I will give you my dollar for your Bitcoin." Okay, and then all of a sudden people start buying. They say, "Wow, Frank dollar is pretty good." So I'm going to buy that. And then other people come in and say, I think that's going to become really excited. That's going to be something. Wow,
It
there you
because
go.
it needs to be
I've
backed
got
by.
my
See,
own
this
render
is where
coin.
we this is where
Yeah, it's backed
we
by me. But
no
my
no no no.
technology, you're designing working for my company. It's a great company. It
Okay, can
doesn't. I don't see the connection
let me see if I
between
can explain it to
doing the
you.
service
Okay,
and the dollar. Go ahead.
okay, I get where I got where you were going the whole time, and this is where we kind of
Yeah.
argue about throughout this whole thing. Number one, it has to be backed by something. And that's why I keep telling you that why Bitcoin is going to be so important because these projects that have the backing one to one to Bitcoin or whatever, right? You need to have the Bitcoin to be backed there. Okay. Otherwise, it's backed by
Why?
the US dollar. Let me get to there. I'll explain the thing. So it's not necessarily that if you're using an app or you're using the technology, you need a digital currency to be used within that. So a prime example might be something like because we're things are changing and you're kind of stuck in this like
Well,
oh
I'm just
business
asking,
where
why
you're
does it have
breaking
to? But
okay
you
but
make a statement.
I know
It
but
has to
I
be a
let you
digital.
talk and told
Why
you
can't it be?
let me get to
But you're
that
making a
because
statement.
you've
I'm
been
just asking.
no you've been I let you finish your whole story, even though I
Okay,
knew where you were
okay,
getting at in the beginning.
okay. Go ahead.
I let you finish, even though I had stuff to say. But now I have a lot to say to explain it because there's a whole bunch of parts. You need to understand this one and this one and this one to get the full picture. So if you start complaining about this one before I get to these,
I'm,
we're not going to get
I'm
there.
not complaining. I'm just saying
Yeah,
you're building an edifice, right? You're
I
building
know.
a
I have to
story, right?
build. I
But
have
if the
yeah.
foundation is wrong, if you're
The
building it
fact, but
on a wrong
it's
foundation,
not
how
wrong.
can
So
it?
let me explain it to you. A good businesses like what you're talking about, these brick and mortar type businesses, which you had, are different than these digital businesses. It's completely different. So you can have a digital currency and you could make up a currency. You know, like I play Call of Duty, right? There is a currency in that game. There's a currency. We use, I forget what the COD dollars or whatever, and you can buy skins, guns, whatever you can buy in the game, right? But you trade in dollars and you use these things. All right. Now I think that they could start using like some sort of actual crypto within that game, but the people don't actually trade those things. So but that's another story. Back to what we're back to what I was talking about. Something like Uber, right? It's digital, and you bring on employees. They don't actually have employees. It's a people come on, they do a job, and then they leave, right? So and you can work when you want to, and there's an incentive of sometimes you make more, sometimes less, depending on like they need more drivers, right? So they'll pay you more. You know what I mean? So that's a pretty good example. They could switch over to some sort of digital currency, but it would have to be backed by something. It would have to be backed one to one to like a Bitcoin or something like that. Something that everyone, all the digital companies agree upon is this digital currency that can be swapped from place to place. Otherwise, if you had, like you said, oh, the Uber coin, you're paying me an Uber coin. What am I supposed to do with that? But if you can trade
So
it
all you're
for
doing is just making another step. In other words, all right, so I pay you in a digital coin, and then you trade that in for a Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin gets traded in for a dollar. Just use a dollar.
because
Uber's working fine
within
without.
this system, within this system, in order to mine for this, like you need a digital currency.
But you could get
It
paid
makes
in dollars. I could, if I had my cabinet business, I could pay people in real dollars instead of Frank Ferrando dollars.
but
It's
you
not
need an
necessary.
intermediary because you need the intermediary. The whole point of this is they want to
Why?
do
I
it
mean, if I'm mining, if I'm
decentralized.
doing work at render, why can't the render people do rendering and the business, the people that own render, okay, I'm going to pay you for sharing your computer with the GPU power and stuff. It doesn't have to be a cryptocurrency. It seems like, well, yeah, well, we want because it's digital. Oh, let's use digital money. You don't need to.
But now you're going through someone else. This is me,
Well,
me to
so
you.
well, yeah, yeah.
This is the whole point of this is like, I don't know you. You don't know me. You need to borrow my computing power, and we don't need another person to for you to send the money to for then it comes to me. This is me to
Yeah, you
you.
do
You borrow
because you're
my
going.
computing power, and I'm giving it to you, and then I have this currency.
Well, I kind of like it better through U.S. dollars than. All right, so I'm going to get. You're going to give me a digital coin, which is very volatile. All right, so you're going to pay me that might be because last year it was five. It was $5 worth $5. This January it's worth $1. I mean, you're going to pay me in digital coins that are constantly changing. I kind of like getting paid
Yeah,
knowing
but
that
that's
like
also
it's a
based
dollar
on
to a
like how
dollar.
much. Yeah, but that's also based upon uh how much say there's not enough computing powers. That's what makes the say you will you get a call something? What happened?
Go ahead. It's
You
go ahead.
you pressed the button. You pressed the button, and I lost my screen.
You can't see.
Yeah, whatever you press, don't do that again,
Uh,
man. Don't press buttons. Why did somebody call you? And it,
well, that was time Vietnam.
so we'll tell
My
her.
wife.
We'll call her back. I
Okay.
know.
All right.
So we'll wrap this up in a minute. We'll do this another 5 minutes, but
Well, I got a couple more things. All right. Let me just
well,
see.
wait, hold on before because
Are
I
you
want to
done?
wrap. I was finishing up this point that
Okay.
the U.S. dollar one because there was 2 points here. U.S. dollar might be fine when you're using my computing power in America, but what if the computing power is in China or somewhere else? Like they don't want to be paid in your U.S.
I
dollars.
don't
It's
know.
just
I
keep
don't
it,
know. I think
and
they
then
would
they can
like to be
trade.
paid in U.S. dollars.
Well, whatever.
I mean, the
Who
currency. That's
knows?
what we have. We have currency exchanges all over the place. It's very easy to
But
get
well, this does
exchange
it too.
dollars.
This does it too, but
It
easier.
does, but it's not as
And
easy as what you. It's not as easy as what you think. Oh, okay.
just tell her to call her back.
um, you want me to answer it?
No, just send her a message.
All
My
right.
dad's wife's in
Actually,
Vietnam. They just woke up. It's what time there?
I'll call it back when
6 in the morning,
it's
7,
12
8.
hours ahead of us.
Yeah, but
Anyhow,
you're on the
it's
East Coast.
still, I mean, I don't know why anyone would want to use you get paid in a cryptocurrency that keeps, and not only that, you can't actually
Oh,
buy
and
anything
I
with the
was gonna
paper.
say
You have to go to change it to Bitcoin, and then you got to change that to US dollars to buy something.
it fluctuates in price. I'm guessing. I don't know because I'm not a complete expert, but I'm assuming that it has to do with the the like the network power. You know, if there's more people need the computing power, right? And there's not enough computing power. Like say there's more, I need more render work, right? But all the computers are being used up. So the price starts going up uh, somewhere else. So more people jump on the system to offer up their computers so they can all, get more money. Sort of like the way that Uber works. If there's not
Yeah,
enough
it's
drivers
that,
out
and that
there,
technology already exists, and that works for Uber. It can work with render.
yeah,
My
but
my
the
problem with that is it's still a coin. Like I said, it goes back to like me having my business. I think it's a great deal for whoever owns render, right? If I mean, who does own Render is a subsidiary of Otoy or something like that. So the people that
Yeah.
own Render and they're making their own digital coins and paying people, they must be making a ton of money because they're not actually paying anybody for all the things that they're doing. I would
Yeah, but
love
you're
that. I would
taking
love
that
to. I
coin and
start
you
my
can trade
cabinet
it in.
business again. If I could have my cabinet business and pay people with my dollars, right, and
Yeah,
sell
but
my
Uber's not
business
paying.
things,
Yeah, but
I'd be like,
Uber's not paying people with their, like they're not just like taking
no,
money
they're
and giving it
not.
to
No, but
when
Render
no,
is.
what I'm telling you is Uber could just as easily switch over to any digital currency. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's dollars because it's from someone gets in my car. If I'm an Uber driver, they get in my car, they pay on the app, and then that money, some of that money goes to me, some of that money goes to Uber.
If
Well, it
I were an
doesn't
Uber driver, if I were an Uber driver, and someone said, "I'm going to give you an Uber Tober,
Uber
Uber
Uber token,
token for driving for
but it wouldn't.
3 hours," I'd be like, "No, I
But it
want
wouldn't.
dollars. I want to get
Yeah,
paid."
but it wouldn't matter because you can get if you can trade it for the same amount that it's worth. You know that it's worth.
Well, it wouldn't be
If
because
they
you'd
just
have
use
all kinds
if
of
they
work to
just
do.
used an Uber token, you as a passenger, when you go on the app, you put in $100 into the app, and then you have your $100 worth of Uber tokens,
All right,
and now
all
that
right.
just
Tell me that.
easily on the system.
Well, all right, that's more work than if you're an Uber driver in America and Uber decides to pay you in Vietnamese dong. Okay, well, I can trade that in too. All right, I'm going to take my
Again,
Vietnamese
we're
dong. I'm going to go to the bank. It's more work. I mean, people aren't going to go
no,
for that.
again, you are here. You're an Uber passenger getting into my Uber here in the US. You both use US dollars. When you're rendering something, it could be anywhere in the world.
Right, and they've
So
still
you're
got to
making a
trade in the,
connection.
but they're going to have to trade in. So, all right, so you're in Bangladesh, all right, and you get paid with a
Okay.
Uber with an Uber token, right?
Render.
All right,
No, you
a
wouldn't.
render token. All right, what would you get paid with?
You're connecting a buyer and a seller from anywhere in the world without an
Okay, so
intermediary. Doesn't that make
all
sense to
right.
you?
So I'm in
When
Bangladesh, and I'm getting paid by render, right? They're using my computer, and I'm
yeah.
getting paid. I'm earning a token, right? So they're
By
gonna
the
pay
way,
me.
Bitcoin just went over 24,000. It's 24,200 right now. I just saw that.
Oh wow! All right, good. I'm excited. Are you gonna sell your tokens and make some money? Look, I'm in Bangladesh. I'm doing the work. You're paying me in an Uber token. What am I going to do with it?
Yep.
Oh well, all right. I've got to sell that, and I've got to trade that into a Bitcoin. So then I can take the Bitcoin and I can sell that, and I can get to some Bangladeshi dollars, so I can buy dinner for tonight. Why in the world would I do that? If I'm in Bangladesh, pay me in Bangladeshi dollars.
But you're not in Bangladesh. You're in one
I'm saying
place.
I'm using that as an example.
Okay.
If I'm in
But
America,
imagine
don't pay me in Bangladesh dollars or render tokens. Pay me in dollars.
you
Hey, look,
you're
you
getting in a car.
Bitcoin.
No, you're imagine you're doing the Uber, but we're using the Uber thing. You get into the car, you found me without even having
What country are we
Uber
in? What
in
country are we in?
America. But so what's
All
something
right.
that you would do with somebody in another country that you have
Wait,
bought in another country? Okay, you buy you bought something online. You bought something on Amazon. You're looking for who knows, a toothbrush, but they only make that special toothbrush in Bangladesh. Okay. You found that one guy who you wanted that special toothbrush from Bangladesh. Okay. You're
on
paying him.
Amazon?
What do you,
On Amazon?
there is no, there is no intermediary. That's what I'm saying. You
No,
found him.
Amazon. There's a
Yeah.
guy.
That's what
I found a guy in Bangladesh selling me
yep.
toothbrushes. Okay.
Because you don't need to have your money go to somebody else and go to him. So You're sending that money
Airbnb,
to
Air.
him.
How about let's make it even easier. Airbnb in
But
Vietnam.
finish,
Okay,
but finish
it's the
this.
same
No,
thing.
no, because I'm talking
I
about
can
you
pay
being in
him.
one place and
All
him being.
right,
No,
all
you're
right,
here. He's there. He's sending you something, and you're sending him money.
okay.
What are you sending
Yeah,
him? What money are you sending him?
I'm just going to send him U.S. dollars.
He doesn't want your U.S. dollars,
Yeah, he does because he can change. He can go to the bank and change it.
and that's where you keep getting into trouble. You think that whatever, like everyone wants to
It
work in the
happens.
same way that you do.
It's happening every day in the world right now. People in America are going and getting Airbnb or Uber in all kinds of countries, and it's working fine because the currency exchanges work very smoothly. There's people in
We're
there, they're doing
talking
it. It
in a
works fine.
digital world, in digital things.
It's happening in the speed of light, just like that. Faster than you can do
Cheaper,
it.
faster. No,
Yeah,
digital currency is much better.
it's not
It
cheaper
works
because
better.
you
And
buy
there's
it,
no
you might get paid.
intermediary. I don't need anyone. It's trustless. You give it to someone else and
It's
you don't
not.
need anyone.
I think that's not true. It's not true that there's no intermediary because it's going up on the ledgers, and then you've got to change it to Bitcoin. And those people are being controlled. It's being controlled by what? The committee, the community, and stuff like that. There's no way to get through it. No intermediary. It's me to you. There's a system.
I think we should have
Now
explained
what?
what render
What?
was exactly, but everyone,
Oh yeah,
you
but
can go
that's not the
watch the other
point.
video if you want to, because we
The
keep talking
render,
about
who
it and where.
render? It could be any business. That's what I was saying with my example. It could be any business. It doesn't matter if it's render. Look,
But this is
Bitcoin just
a
went over
business without,
2,400, twenty-four
yeah,
thousand.
24,000. Yeah.
You know why? You know why? Let's see. Uh, I think there's the mainstream news stories about Bitcoin. Is it bull? Is it a bull or it's a bear market rally? Right? Is it YouTube video? All kinds of YouTube videos right now. And what's going on with Reddit? Is it Reddit? The big pump going on in Twitter? Everybody's talking about. Is it like everybody's all excited and the shorts are going on? I mean, you said it earlier. It's
No,
like
the
I
Fed just
believe in it.
released the
I
numbers of
believe
what
in it.
they're gonna. It's not the pump right now is not because
It's a
of
religion. It's a
YouTube. It's
religion.
because the Fed just released the numbers of what they're gonna
What
raise the
in the
rates, and it was
world?
lower than what it
What in
was.
the world? What in the world does the Fed have to do with Bitcoin? How in the
Okay.
world is it possible that Bitcoin is connected to the Fed and the stock market? It's not even so. It's not supposed to be at all like that. It's
Well, for right
not.
now,
That was the whole idea.
so
It's supposed to be completely separate.
the second they just released the news that the Fed was only going to raise the rates by 25 basis points, the it
That was a
started
couple of
going up a
days
little
ago.
bit
Why
today.
didn't it go up then? So why is it going up today? They
Just
knew
that
that was going to happen a couple of days ago. That's a
they just
stock. That's the
released
way the
it.
stock market works. Yeah, they will released it today.
All right.
But
All
I'm
right.
just saying,
Okay.
it's not supposed to work
I
like
think
the stock market.
okay, well, it's not supposed to do a lot of things, but anyway, I think we should probably just stop it around here because we're going to run out of time on this thing anyway.
What's
But
render at today?
it
All right? What's render at today?
render is at $1.56
Dollar.
right now. Went up to $1.70 early, 58. Yeah, it was up to $1.70 earlier today.
And that was just a couple of days ago. It was like 84 cents, and everybody was excited.
It
Of course,
was
it's a
just
religion. You think you're going to become rich
okay.
overnight? Imagine if you had put $20,000 into it yesterday, or a couple of days ago when it was at 84. You would have made $20,000 in a day
Yeah.
if you sold it, not kept it.
No. Well, I believe in it longer term. It's a longer term play for me. But anyway, let's end this here. If anyone wants to actually learn what render is, you can watch the previous video that was released. You can learn more about the render network.
And if you have
And
any comments and suggestions, put them in the comment below. Don't forget to smash that button. And what was the other thing? And hit the like button.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm
And
getting
and
a
and put in
text
the
from
comments who you think won or lost the argument.